afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Tuesday. It's not Wednesday, as you've been saying all day.
I have been saying that all day. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, lots of news today, so let's get right to it. Here's what's making news. President Trump is in Milwaukee tonight, speaking to supporters as the 2020 campaign season gets underway.
We'll join our Amy Reed there live momentarily. A popular music venue and bar in Rock County could lose its liquor license after a shots fired incident, what the owner and police have to say.
And Democrats will also be speaking to supporters tonight in Des Moines, what to expect during tonight's Democratic debate.
Let's take a look outside today. It was pretty quiet for the most part, but it's going to be an active week.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of warm today, actually, but it might be slick tomorrow. Dana's in the backyard. Some precipitation moving in.
Yes. Right now, it's not too slick out here. We actually got this patio cleaned off pretty nice out here. Kudos to whoever got the shovel out this morning. So we do have an alert day in the forecast for your Wednesday. There's already winter weather advisories in effect for most of southern Wisconsin. A little mixed precipitation building on in to start off your day. That means some light snow, light rain, and freezing drizzle at times. That's going to lead to some slick roads throughout the area. Right now, we're cloudy outside. Nothing falling currently. The rest of your evening is going to stay pretty quiet. It was mild. We had high temperatures close to 36. Now we're at about 34, so we're cooling down overnight. Doppler radar is going to stay quiet at least until about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Here's a quick look ahead at our future track. We'll start to see that mixed precip, so some freezing drizzle falling early in the day, and it is going to continue through your lunch hour before tapering off. Now, we aren't expecting a lot of snow accumulation with this event, but we'll take a closer look at the timing and some totals with this one and our next big snow event in just a few minutes. Right now, as we look at the Beltline on Park Street, no accidents to report. The eastbound side about 10 minutes ago was starting to back up, but it looks like it's going along fairly smooth right now. Downtown looks okay, and around Janesville, we aren't seeing any delays. The interstate also pretty smooth currently. From Janesville to the Beltline, about 25 minutes, 16 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, and about 15 minutes to get from Sun Prairie to downtown this evening.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Dana.
In 2016, President Donald Trump won Wisconsin by fewer than 23,000 votes, partly because of a surprise victory in Racine County. President Obama won the county in 2008 and 2012. That's why Wisconsin is considered one of the key states for Democrats and Republicans in 2020.
President Trump is in Milwaukee today. Crowds of his supporters are filling into the Panther Arena downtown, and that is where our Amy Reed joins us live to show us how things are going. Amy?
Even though we're still hours away from starting here, supporters are waiting, and they have been waiting. We're told that some people got in line as early as 5 p.m. yesterday. It filled in pretty steadily this morning. We spoke to some people who drove in from out of town to see him. One man from Jefferson told us he voted for Trump in 2016, and the economy is what's bringing him back in 2020.
Back in 2016, we were more anti-Hillary Clinton voters, but as we progressed in through the Donald Trump first one of two that we hope, my wife and I have become very big supporters of Trump. We really like what he's been doing.
We could make up the difference to that just in Milwaukee alone. And so I often say, like, even when you're looking at Milwaukee, you really should be looking at the north side of Milwaukee and how much untapped potential there is there. And if we can mobilize that, then we can swing the election and change the world.
You just heard from Rick Banks with the organization Black Leaders Organizing for Communities. This morning, he helped train lead ambassadors that go door to door on Milwaukee's north side to try and get people to vote on issues they care about. He thinks that can be the key in Wisconsin, which in turn could make or break the election, but he doesn't think Trump has a chance for those voters. Still a few hours to go here, though. We'll keep an eye on how things fill up, and we'll keep you updated throughout the night here and on channel3000.com.
Amy Reed live for us in Milwaukee. We'll see you at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
A Wisconsin appeals court has put on hold an order to immediately remove up to 209,000 names from the state's voter registration rolls. The case is being watched closely as those votes could affect the outcome of the election. The state appeals court sided with the Elections Commission this morning. Democrats in the state are considering it a victory. And state Republicans have introduced a package of legislation that would impose tougher sanctions and sentences on criminals. The bills would prohibit people convicted of violent crimes from being discharged early from probation or early release from jail. It would also impose a mandatory 180-day jail sentence for shoplifting. 6 Democratic presidential candidates are meeting for one last time tonight before the Iowa caucuses.
Each is looking to pull ahead of the pack, and that may mean more clashes between the candidates, including 2 progressives who are usually united on the debate stage. Skylar Henry is in Des Moines with the details.
Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are having a very public disagreement about a private conversation from 2 years ago. Warren says during a 2018 meeting, she told Sanders, "I thought a woman could win the election," but Sanders disagreed. He called the report about his alleged comments ludicrous. Despite that, Sanders says he will not go after Warren at tonight's debate.
I have never said a negative word about Elizabeth Warren, who is a friend of mine. We'll have differences on issues. That's what campaign is about. But no one is going to be attacking Elizabeth.
The 6 candidates who qualified for this 7th Democratic debate are each looking for a breakout performance before Iowa voters caucus February 3rd. A new poll shows former Vice President Joe Biden leading a tight race.
There's no meaningful difference between the top 4 candidates in the polls. And so they all have some sort of appeal.
Iowa's one of the few places where voters get a chance to meet most of the candidates in person. And that, more than anything, tends to be a deciding factor in who they'll caucus for.
We take it very seriously, and we ask questions, and we pay attention to the answer.
But the snow on the ground means time is running out for candidates to find a late surge of support. Though a majority of Iowa caucus goers say they are open to changing their mind about their candidate of choice.
There's so many Pete signs, so much more than Warren or Bernie, or who are all I will vote for if they're the nominee.
Half of those still in the race didn't qualify for this debate, including billionaire Mark Bloomberg.
Doesn't take a penny in contributions from anyone.
The former New York mayor released a new ad highlighting he's been excluded because he doesn't take campaign contributions. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Des Moines, Iowa.
And we will have a full recap of the presidential debate tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
After nearly a month-long wait, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told Democrats they will move tomorrow to send articles of impeachment against President Trump to the Senate. She issued a statement after meeting privately with members of her caucus, saying in part, the American people deserve the truth and the Constitution demands a trial. The House must also still vote on impeachment managers who will make the Democrats' case to remove President Trump from office on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. While names have not been revealed, several members expect the chairs of the House Intelligence and Judiciary Committees, Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler, to lead the team.
People we need are folks like Adam and like Jerry, who in a very specific, concrete, matter-of-fact way, without drama, presenting the House case.
This is the most rushed, most biased, and most partisan impeachment process in history.
4 senators running for president: Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, and Michael Bennet would need to be in Washington instead of on the campaign trail for the trial.
Hay tainted by a toxic beetle is being blamed for the deaths of 14 horses and illnesses to dozens of others on a ranch. Summer flooding left hay unusable at a ranch in Mauston, so they purchased products from South Dakota. A blister beetle releases a toxin when crushed during harvest, and it's being blamed for the horses' deaths and for sickening another 100 horses.
The Monroe County Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly garage fire yesterday. Firefighters responded to the garage on Honeysuckle Avenue in the town of Oakdale around 11:30 yesterday morning. The caller told dispatch her husband might have been inside the shed when the fire broke out. The victim, Richard Cease, was found dead after the fire was extinguished.
A popular Janesville bar and music venue could lose its liquor license because of a shots fired incident in November. Police were called to the Back Bar on Beloit Avenue in Janesville following a party in November. The bar's co-owner says it had been rented out for the night, and right before closing, he heard shots coming from the parking lot. He says losing the license would be unfair, but police say it's a chance to reduce gun violence.
I'm the one who called 911. I'm the one who cooperated heavily with the JPD, invited him into my office the following morning to review the videos, found 3 separate angles of the gunshots in the parking lot, proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the gunshots were on Kellogg Avenue.
We have done very well in Janesville here with respect to gun violence. We don't have it often. And in this particular case, we have the opportunity to address the gun violence because this particular establishment is licensed and we have some control over that license.
The city's Alcohol Advisory Committee is expected to make a decision on the issue this Friday.
After days of protests in Tehran, Iranian officials say they have arrested several people in the accidental missile attack on a Ukrainian Airlines flight, Flight 752. The crash killed all 176 people on board. Iranian officials say the United States bears some of the blame for the incident by ratcheting up tensions after the killing of senior Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani. The president continues to defend his order to kill Soleimani. Members of Congress blasted the absence of Secretary of State Mike Pompeo at a hearing meant to examine the administration's policy toward Iran today.
We killed the #1 terrorist in the world, Soleimani, and it should have been done 20 years ago.
And the American people certainly deserve to hear answers with our troops and diplomats being asked to stand in harm's way.
A senior Republican says the Senate could debate and vote on a war powers resolution to limit any future military actions against Iran by the end of the week. The House passed a similar measure last week.
Smoke from wildfires is smothering the Australian city of Melbourne, and residents are urged to stay indoors. But tennis players trying to qualify for the Australian Open are out in the elements. The toxic air brought Slovenian star Dalila Jakupovic to her knees. She was winning the match when she went into a coughing fit, gasping for breath, forcing her to quit. Tournament organizers temporarily suspended play earlier in the day.
The health and well-being of not only the players, the fans, our staff is of utmost importance.
Tennis pro Mandy Manella from Luxembourg criticized organizers, citing that she was shocked to see matches had started, asking, what about the health of all of the people that have to work out there, especially the ball kids? Wildfires have been burning across eastern Australia for months, killing dozens of people and destroying more than 2,000 homes.
The political scandal known as Bridgegate made its way to the U.S. Supreme Court today. Justices heard arguments on whether to throw out fraud and conspiracy convictions against two former top aides to then New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Bridget Ann Kelly and former Port Authority official Bill Baroni were accused of creating a phony traffic study and closing lanes connecting Fort Lee, New Jersey to the George Washington Bridge, causing traffic gridlock to punish the mayor of Fort Lee for refusing to endorse the governor's re-election campaign.
Much is yet to be determined, but today is about hope and about justice. I remain optimistic that both will triumph and our lives can return to normal.
So now we wait. And I wait with patience, and I wait with humility, and I wait in joyful hope for some justice.
Chris Christie was in court to observe. All along, he has denied knowing about the 2013 plan and has never been charged. The High Court is expected to make a ruling in the spring.
Well, there's more to come at 4. If you're looking for some quick and economical after-school dinners, you've come to the right place.
All the time. Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council is here with some recipes that will make your life a lot easier. Thank goodness. Hi, Ange. We'll come right over there when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, there's more bad news about the flu. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases says children are particularly susceptible to the influenza B Victoria, and that this year's flu vaccine isn't a very good match for it.
According to the CDC, with data released last week, if your child is exposed to B Victoria, there's a 58% chance that their flu shot will be well matched to protect against it. The vaccine, however, is a very good match for the strain called H1N1. The CDC reports 32 children have died from the flu this season, including one last week in Wisconsin.
Well, Americans are drinking less wine.
According to a new report, for the first time in 25 years, wine consumption in the U.S. is down. Instead of wine, industry group IWSR found Americans are drinking more hard seltzers and liquor. This follows a broader trend of people looking for healthier, lower-calorie choices. Tariffs also pose another big problem for wine and spirits. In retaliation for subsidies Europe provided to aircraft maker Airbus, President Trump recently proposed a 100% tariff on French wine and champagne. That's in addition to an already imposed 25% tariff on most European wine and whiskeys. Well, more than 33% of Americans age 65 or over do not have any money saved for retirement. That's according to a survey from Go Banking Rates.
So now some seniors are making ends meet by getting a roommate. Since retiring about 6 years ago, Paul Covington has relied exclusively on Social Security without any savings. The 81-year-old needed help paying his mortgage, so Jim English, a perfect stranger, moved in. This is part of a growing trend. In 2016, 70% more seniors lived with roommates than a decade before. After 5 months of English contributing to the mortgage and utilities, Covington is able to save $3,000.
With the money coming in, do you feel more comfortable?
It's like a step into heaven.
Really?
In terms of being relieved of, the economic pressure.
There are organizations that'll help pair people up. Covington and English use the nonprofit New York Foundation for Senior Citizens to make their match. Experts say it's important to use a reputable organization to avoid scam artists, and roommates should make sure to sign a contract or lease. Stocks closed mostly lower as earnings season gets underway. The Dow Industrials did manage a 32-point gain, closing at 28,939. The Nasdaq lost 22, and the S&P 500 fell nearly 5. Well, now that the holidays are over, it's back to reality.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're looking for a couple of quick and easy dinners for after-school activities and sports, Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council is here. Hi, Angie.
Hello.
Smelling good as usual.
It smells wonderful.
Happy January.
Yeah, it is January. So what are we making today?
2 super easy, perfect weeknight meals, and using ground beef. So ground beef's very economical, very versatile. So, I'm kind of sick of spending money. I'm sick of cooking.
Yeah.
These fit the bill. So 30 minutes or less. So this one I'm mixing up here is actually called beef and ramen noodle lettuce wraps. So I'm using one of the most economical things you can find in the supermarket, going back to college days, ramen noodles. Now, these aren't cooked. They're actually going to be a little crunchy in here. Ooh. So I'm just going to put them in after I brown my ground beef. So I just browned up a pound of ground sirloin. Any ground beef would work, with a little garlic. And then put in 1 package of the ramen noodles. And then some carrots and bean sprouts. I got fresh bean sprouts, but you can get them in a can, too, if you can't find them in your supermarket. And then I'm just gonna make a super simple kind of like a Asian sauce to go on these. So I got a little bit of honey, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and then if you wanna add that, that's sesame oil, toasted sesame oil. And then—
you wanna add the sesame oil right now? Okay.
And then this is the ramen noodle spice packet. I'm gonna add about half of it. So like the soy sauce flavor or the oriental flavor. And that is it. So mix this up, get the honey dissolved, put this over your filling, and pull it off the heat, and you're ready.
And we just go
right into lettuce wraps. So a little healthier too if you're watching your carbs.
So how long does that cook down?
Not very long. This is about done, because you want the ramen noodles a little crunchy and you want your veggies crunchy, al dente. Give it a minute or two. I mean, if you don't want it that crunchy, definitely cook it a little bit longer. But really, this is it. And it is really good with the ramen noodles are really good crunchy. My mom has an Asian salad she makes with ramen noodles that are crunchy, and it's really good.
It is really good.
Yeah, so
this could be an appetizer or your main dish?
Right, on the website it's an appetizer, but I like serving stuff like this as my main dish for supper because it's nice and light. Or make it at night and just keep it for lunch the
There you
next
go.
day and send it with everybody to
Great
work
idea.
or to
All right,
school.
what are these guys?
These are called taco beef nuggets. It's kind of an older checkoff recipe. It's like my kid's favorite checkoff recipe.
What is a
all
checkoff?
time.
What does checkoff recipe?
That's
do?
us. That's our Wisconsin Beef Council
okay.
checkoff. So our culinary center. So a pound of ground beef mixed with taco seasoning and a can of green chilies, and then you make little nuggets and then put in the middle a chunk of cheese. So I use the Monterey Jack or the Colby Jack cheese sticks and cut a cheese stick in quarters and put a little bit in the middle, and then roll them in egg white and then Doritos, crushed up Doritos, and then bake them in the oven at 400 degrees about 15 minutes.
Well,
You want to try one?
I'm intrigued.
I'm intrigued too.
And then a little taco sauce. So it's super easy. Half an hour, and you know, this is a great recipe if you have younger kids that want to get in the kitchen and help you cook.
Yeah.
Get them in there, have them help you mix it all up, make the nuggets themselves or cut the cheese. Kids are more apt to eat what they help you cook.
It's a great idea.
Less of a fight.
What do you think?
Well, you can taste the peppers.
Oh, can you?
How long do you bake them?
15 minutes.
Oh, that's it.
400 degree oven. Right.
It's
super
like eating a
slow.
taco.
Yeah, with Doritos.
A finger food taco, yeah.
With like the Dorito taco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So beeftips.com is our website. We've got a link on the As Seen on TV page to these recipes, plus all of our other great hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ground beef recipes.
It's the time of year for that. Save some money.
Save some money, save some time, and get back in the groove.
Yeah.
Cheers. Andy, thank you.
Good to see you.
Still to come at 4, a home generator can be a lifesaver when the power goes out.
But used improperly, they can be a big health hazard. Consumer Reports has some safety tips coming up after Dana's first alert forecast.
Well, take a look at this. Everybody seems to be taking selfies these days, right? But one photographer was ahead of the game by about 20 years. Between 2000 and 2020, Noah Kalina documented 7,263 days with selfies. He's gone to school, moved, traveled the world in that time, all witnessed in the backgrounds of his photos. Kalina says he plans to continue and release updates every 10 years for the rest of his life.
Oh, wow. The hair. It's really, you keep looking at the hair.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool. It's a neat idea.
You aged 20 years right before your eyes.
And dramatic video out of Scotland is making big waves on the internet.
Waves swept over passing traffic near a Scottish village yesterday as rain and wind hit the country's western coast. Several flights in the area were canceled. Right now, no reports of injuries, but I can't even believe they have the road open, to be honest, right now.
Close the road.
That doesn't seem safe at all.
Wow. Free car wash.
Yeah, exactly.
That's optimism. There you go. I don't know if salt water's the best thing for your paint.
Probably not.
There's some lights. Maybe they did have that part of the road closed. Parts of it. Oh,
some wicked winds.
Some wicked winds. Now, we aren't expecting winds like that for tomorrow, but we do have an alert day in the forecast now for Wednesday because I do think your morning commute's going to be just a little slower, a little slick in spots. We're going to take a closer look at timing and just a quick glimpse at your next big event right after the break. So overall, this afternoon has been pretty mild. Not a good indicator for what's ahead, actually, for your Wednesday. Tonight's going to get a little colder. We're planning on partly cloudy skies for Wednesday. It does look like some light snow and little mixed precipitation will be coming through, mainly early in the morning. Some freezing rain mixed in along with that, and just some plain rain at times. And that's going to make the roads a little slick, especially since all that cold air coming through at night is going to make the ground cold. We are going to have some icy spots for early on Wednesday. Our next opportunity for some accumulation accumulating snow is going to build in on Friday, late in the day on Friday into Saturday. It really seems like a little more of a Saturday morning event, and we could see a little bit of accumulation along with that one. Right now, Doppler radar's quiet, even with that cloudy sky overhead. Overnight, we are expecting our skies to become partly cloudy, so temperatures dropping quite a bit for our overnight lows into the low 20s to start off the day. So here's a look at 5-6 o'clock, just before that morning rush. We're mostly cloudy, starting to become mostly cloudy at that time, and we still have some light flurries, or starting to see some light mixed precipitation spots lifting into the area, lifting northeast. The center of this system tracking just a little further south now. You can see there where the wind is converging. So we are expecting snow mainly north of Madison, with this mixed precipitation mainly south of Madison, where temperatures are going to be a little closer to freezing. It'll be a little colder to the north. These totals are going to stay fairly low. It's a quick moving event, but it's coming through right during that morning rush hour. So that's why we do have an alert day in the forecast and why that winter weather advisory is in effect for Wednesday morning. In the afternoon, we are expecting our skies to slowly clear out as that moisture pulls on away. And then into Thursday, we are expecting the sun to come back, but Thursday is going to be our cold day for the week. In the morning, we're seeing our temperatures in the single digits. And then in the afternoon, with some sunshine, we barely climb to the mid to upper teens for our afternoon highs. That's the cold day before our next event comes through. It's nice that we have these little pause points in between. Snowfall totals, again, staying below an inch for most of southern Wisconsin. You're going to have to travel a little further north to see a little more snow accumulation. For areas along the Wisconsin-Illinois state line, we will be a little more concerned about the potential for some light glazing or light ice accumulation. These totals seeming to trend closer to a few hundredths of an inch. Not a major ice event, but just a little bit of ice can really lead to some slick conditions. So it's something you're going to want to keep in mind for your Wednesday morning as we factor in those slippery roads, the freezing drizzles possible, and that coupled with the light snow could make things a little slick early in the day. Temperatures overnight falling to the low 20s with a partly cloudy sky. That's just a little colder outside. Tomorrow afternoon, we're in the low 30s for afternoon highs. Mostly cloudy skies with snow and a little freezing rain, freezing drizzle possible early in the day. It's not an all day long event. Alert day for Wednesday. Thursday, we have a break. And then Friday, our next snow event builds in at night into Saturday. So we've added an alert day in for Saturday. Is that accumulating snowfall throughout the day? It's likely going to make roads a little slick to start off the weekend, that first half of the weekend. Temperatures only climbing to about 32 for Saturday afternoon. That means everything coming through, of course, sticks and stays as snow. The second half of the weekend's much colder. We're expecting colder air to usher in for Sunday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday. And heading into next week, afternoon highs are going to be a little chilly, and then those overnight lows dropping into the single digits. So it'll feel like January.
Yeah, that's looking like January, exactly.
That's definitely winter. And finally, it looks a little more like winter now that we got the snow in.
Yeah.
Everything's cleaned up. But for tomorrow morning, I think folks should really plan just a few extra minutes, give themselves a little extra time.
Good idea. All right, thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana. Well, generators are emergency equipment that can be a lifesaver during a power outage, but they can also be a killer if they're used improperly.
Consumer Reports explains what you need to know about the risks of carbon monoxide poisoning and how to safeguard against that hazard. Leah Linscheid has the story.
Headlines like these seem all too common. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says that from 2005 to 2017, more than 900 people died of carbon monoxide poisoning while using portable generators.
A generator should never be used inside or even in a doorway of an enclosed space.
To reduce the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning, some new generators feature a built-in sensor that triggers an automatic shutoff if CO gas builds up to dangerous levels in an enclosed space, like a garage or a carport. And some portable models are now designed to emit less CO in the first place. Consumer Reports recently tested 5 portable generators with this automatic shutoff. All of them passed CR's new safety technology test, shutting down before carbon monoxide reached specified limits in this enclosed chamber. CR will now only recommend portable generators with an automatic shutoff for dangerous levels.
Each manufacturer uses a different name for their CO shutoff system. So if you're shopping for a new portable generator, look for terms such as CO Shield, CO Sense, CO Guard, CO Protect, or CO Detect.
This Ryobi generator not only has automatic shutoff, but has low CO output as well. Testers gave it excellent scores for power delivery. This DeWalt portable received excellent marks for power delivery and also maintains its voltage well. And this Generac has good power quality and features a helpful fuel gauge. All three have 5 power outlets and will run for 8 to 17 hours on 1 tank of gas, depending on the power level. And it bears repeating here, never operate a portable generator indoors, even with a door open. For News 3 Now, this is Leah Lynchide.
And in addition, Consumer Report says you should always follow these safety rules. Always place the generator at least 20 feet from your house and make sure in advance that you have a generator power cord that's long enough to reach it. That would be me.
It sounds like common sense, but it is an important thing to remember. Right, exactly. And always direct the exhaust away from any occupied space so that carbon monoxide is not blowing toward living spaces.
I like the automatic shutoff for the CO
good
protection.
idea.
Yep. Well, there's more to come at 4, including a look at the day's headlines.
When we come back, we'll have that. And then tonight at 5, the National Security Agency has discovered a major flaw in Microsoft's operating system. We'll share what you need to know to keep your information safe tonight at 5.
For first, fast, accurate weather updates, watch First Alert Weather.
It's 4:40 right now. Let's get a look at the headlines.
It's going to be a busy night in downtown Milwaukee as President Trump speaks down the street from a Milwaukee Bucks game. The president will speak at the UW-Milwaukee Panthers Arena. This comes as the city prepares for this summer's 2020 Democratic Convention. The president narrowly won Wisconsin in 2016.
Meanwhile, the top remaining Democratic presidential candidates will take the stage in Des Moines this evening. It is the last debate ahead of the Iowa caucuses. Iowa is one of the few places races where voters get a chance to meet most of the candidates in person, and that more than anything tends to be a deciding factor in who they will caucus for.
A popular Janesville bar and music venue could lose its liquor license because of a shots fired incident in November. Police were called to the Back Bar on Beloit Avenue in Janesville following a party in November. The bar's co-owner says it had been rented out for the night and that losing their license would be unfair. Janesville police say it's a chance to prevent future gun violence.
Smoke from wildfires is smothering the Australian city of Melbourne, and residents are being urged to stay indoors. But tennis players who are trying to qualify for the Australian Open are out in the elements. Wildfires have been burning across eastern Australia for months, killing dozens of people and destroying more than 2,000 homes.
Well, still to come at 4, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, it is a big night for Democrats in Iowa.
What can we expect to see and hear at tonight's Iowa debate, and how pivotal will Wisconsin be in the election? We'll talk with a Madison College political instructor when Live at 4 continues.
So we right now are looking at the Beltline and not seeing any accidents. Some good news there. The eastbound side, of course, getting just a little busy, but the westbound side actually looks like it's in a pretty good spot right now. We aren't seeing any major delays along the westbound side. It's just those eastbound lanes where traffic's backed up all the way past Seminole Highway. And once you get through Fish Hatchery and Park and a little closer to John Nolan, speeds will start to pick back up again. Downtown Madison should be fairly smooth. And looking around downtown Janesville, no delays right now either. The interstate actually smooth all the way from the Beltline down to the Illinois state line. From Janesville to the Beltline, it will take you just about 25 minutes, 16 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, and the same from Sun Prairie to downtown. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. 2 Frenchmen jumped out of a helicopter in Hunan province in China. wearing carbon fiber wings that were powered by 4 reactors. Excited crowds watched as the pair soared through the air, navigating around the area's mountainous terrain.
It is so cool. Before
Successfully flying through the famed Heaven's Gate in China. Oh my goodness, look at this.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, hold your breath. Oh my, wow. The equipment that the pair was wearing can reach speeds of 250 miles per hour and is controlled by the human body.
You don't see that every day.
Wow, I bet that makes you feel alive. Crazy. Well, while President Trump is in Milwaukee this evening, the remaining top Democratic candidates, as we mentioned, will take the stage in Des Moines, Iowa.
Earlier today, I talked with Madison College political science instructor Marie Shepard about what to expect tonight.
The field has thinned out quite a bit. Cory Booker has left. Others have left the field. I think it would be sort of the candidates, the remaining ones, particularly the front runners, Biden, Warren, Buttigieg, to really sort of try to solidify their position. They will also, I believe, discuss sort of current events, particularly in terms of foreign policy. I think Bernie Sanders, again, another front runner, he's already sort of signaled that he will go after Joe Biden fairly hard in terms of some of his past support for, once again, the U.S. involvement overseas and that sort. So I think that will probably be the highlight. I think at this point we have a pretty good idea where the candidates stand on a number of sort of issues. But the current events of, once again, President Trump using being as commander-in-chief, using that power to assassinate someone, but then also questions about that use of force. That will come up in the debate tonight.
The Democratic committee is getting some flack about the lack of diversity on the stage tonight because of the rules to how you got onto the debate stage.
Well, and that is an issue in terms of the United States, in terms of there's a significant demographic change, not just in terms of race, but also in terms of background, economics, and that sort. So I think there can be an argument made if you just look at diversity strictly along race lines. Yes, it's simply not there. But you can also argue that there is diversity there in terms of it's not all just sort of white males on the stage. You have an openly gay white male on stage. You also have women that will be on stage. So some of that comes down to sort of how do you define diversity. So there isn't that, if diversity is defined strictly as race, not there, but there is diversity.
Are we to the point now where our candidates are going to have to stand out to be noticed?
That can help in terms of, again, mobilizing certain parts of the electorate, certain segments of the voting population and that. So I firmly believe that at the end of the day, it comes down to the quality of the candidate, their policies and positions on different issues and that. So
how important is Wisconsin's role going to be in the primary and the general election?
I think it's going to be very important. Some of the political science research shows that, so going back to 2016, the Trump team was very encouraged by the fact that Clinton, and she was always sort of, once again, identified as, once again, the possible potential nominee for the Democratic Party. But when she lost Wisconsin to Bernie Sanders, lost to Bernie also in Michigan, and she won Pennsylvania, but it wasn't necessarily a fairly strong showing, that gave the Trump team encouragement. And in the political science data, there's some indication that there's a correlation between not just sort of winning a primary, a state in a presidential primary, winning a state, but the level of intensity, how much once again, you were able to win it. Did you win it decisively, or once again, sort of by a narrow edge?
But we're going to be a battleground state. I mean, it's very important.
This is going to be a battleground state. Again, if and even for Wisconsin, this goes back sort of in retrospect. How we look back at Wisconsin, I think in the 2020 primary season that's coming up fairly quickly, it will not just be about which. Right now, it looks like on the Democratic side, Biden, possibly Sanders, Warren, maybe Buttigieg. Not just sort of who wins, but the degree to which they win. If someone were to, so for example, if Joe Biden wins Wisconsin by a narrow margin, that doesn't bode well in terms of not only, once again, maybe getting the nomination, but in particular, winning a general election. So I think Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are all in play, Wisconsin in particular. And Wisconsin is particularly important because of the demographics in Wisconsin. Western Wisconsin flipped from Obama to Trump, and now they call those sort of pivot counties or pivot areas. That's going to be, once again, critical, too.
It's going to be an interesting year.
Very interesting.
Get ready for the ads. Maurice, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
They'll be here quickly.
We'll have all the highlights tonight.
Wisconsin primary is April 7th.
That's right.
So get ready for that, and we'll be right back.
Pretty roll playback.
Start the
Maybe leave a little extra time in the morning.
Yes, right now things are quiet and calm this evening, but tomorrow morning is what we're keeping a close eye on with anything building on in. Mostly cloudy skies, currently temperatures in the mid-30s. We've had a little bit of melting today with that snow. For tomorrow morning, here's a quick look at about 6 o'clock. Light snow, a little mixed precipitation expected. Could see some freezing rain and drizzle mixed on in there for early in the day, and then this tapers off once we get early in the afternoon. Dave Caulfield is going to have a little closer look during the 5 at some accumulation totals ahead.
No ice, please.
Yes.
All right, tomorrow here on Live at 4, we're going to talk with the author of a new book about diagnosing and caring for a child with autism.
And we'll find out why UW Health leads the country in living kidney donations to strangers. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4.
Nicole's husband did that.
Yeah.